ready. This is going to be exciting.
Here we go, restarts up to go. Green flag is out and underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
After a great finish last week at Daytona, the drivers of the Goat Locker Racing Invets Grand National Series are ready to take on a much different type of challenge at Las Vegas. We've got a full field of drivers ready to do 150 miles tonight around this iconic mile-and-a-half that always puts on a good show in GLR. I'm Sky Shrek. I'm joined in the booth tonight by Dave Regal, and Eddie Smith is our producer. Dave, tell us a little bit about what these drivers will be facing when they try to tackle Las Vegas.
Well, first of all, this 1.5 mile speedway just outside, of course, the all too famous Las Vegas Strip. It's been around since 1971. Now, the banking here is really interesting because it's not necessarily progressive, but it's definitely never flat. You go down the Nellis straightaway and it's still barely, tilted, at least from my opinion. And as far as getting around this place, that middle line is going to be key, especially in these cars. The Grand National Series has a lot of potential to sit here and, at least for my money, create some really good side-by-side action, especially going into turn 3.
Yeah, we'll take a quick look at your schedule so far this season. We went to Daytona last week, Vegas this week. Coming up over the next couple, we have Auto Club, New Hampshire, and Pocono. That'll take us through the month of February. Some pretty big tracks in there, but also New Hampshire to mix it up a little bit. Our road course on the schedule at Sonoma will start off March, followed by Rockingham, Phoenix, Dover, and Michigan as your regular season finale. Starting the playoffs, we'll have Charlotte and Iowa in that first round, the round of 12. Bristol and Chicagoland will take us through the round of 8. And your Championship 4 race will be at Homestead, and that is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I love a good championship race at Homestead. I feel like it's a better move for NASCAR and really for motorsports when we can do that. So I'm looking forward to that deep in the season here. Looks like right now, at least all things considered during qualifying, Levi McCarty sitting atop the pile at 30.33 seconds. Next closest driver is Mark Whitley. Now, you and I last season had a lot of opportunity to see Mark Whitley basically dominate his division in the ARCA Series. And now here in the Grand National Series, he's got this machine cranked up to something special in the 77 tonight.
Yeah, Mark Whitley is always really a threat to compete in this series, and this season is no different. You always see that 74 car up, contending out, and the 77 car up contending in front of these fields. And we don't really expect to see anything different this week in that regard. Last week's winner, it was Daytona, so it was a bit more of a kind of chaotic race, but Lucas Lyons ultimately grabbed the win. Not in the field tonight, so we will have a first-time winner. Wesley Burke brought it up P2. He is in the field, so he can try to go one spot further for a win tonight. So can your third-place finisher from last week, Joseph McWhorter, who is always, again, just like Mark Whitley, a threat to win in this series. And one of the main drivers who we're going to look to over the course of your 100 laps tonight to dethrone Whitley as Daniel Parks hits the wall there in qualifying. I don't think this lap was going to count anyways because he's not going to be able to get it back to the line in time. That'll wrap up your qualifying here, and in just a second, we will get ready to get your starting grid and find out who won the Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award. It's the 18 car of Levi McCarty. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits, with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning. Local and veteran certified, when they do well, they do good in the community. It's Levi McCarty winning that Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award. Mark Whitley will go from his outside in P2. McCarty a whole tenth of a second faster there on pole. Barrett Morton rolls off third in the 9 car next to Wesley Burke, last week's runner-up in the 04. Ken Huber goes from 5th tonight in the 40 with Garrett Kinder in the 4 in 6th. Mark Cofield in the 97 starts in P7 tonight next to Daniel Cunningham in the 88. And Mickey Isaac and Stefan Purcell round out your top 10.
Starting in row number 6 on the inside, going to be Judson Curtis in the 29, joined by Frederick Seagraves Jr. in the 59, starting in 12th. 13th goes to Samuel Yosef in the 35 with Zach Horner in the 25, starting in 14th. 15th goes to Brandon Wallace in the 99, while Devontae Drain going to start on the outside of row number 8 in his number 33. Dave Calvert gets the 90, squared into 17th position, and Kyle Deering going to roll off 18th on the outside of row number 9. Row 10 and rounding out your starting top 20 is Tyler Gebbin in the 47 and Gary Wright in the 44.
Starting back from there in 21st tonight is Dakota Cole in the 31 next to Christopher Heiner in the 32. 23rd is Mason Mueller in the 10, Stephon Davis in the 09 in 24th. Daryl Whitford in the 20 goes from 25th, Wyatt Tooling in the 51 in 26th. Armando Melgoza in the 78 rolls off in P27 next to the 2 of Colton Sisk, and rounding out your top 30 tonight is Daniel Parks and Brock Price.
31st is going to go to Chuck Sweeting with Joseph McWhorter starting the 72 back in 32nd position. Christopher Tate going to start on the inside of row number 17 with Jamie Libke out of Phoenix, Arizona starting in 34th. 35th goes to Cody Turner and Kevin Price starting in 36th position tonight. Michael Jones in 37th with Darren Price back here in 38th. 39th and starting shotgun on the field tonight going to be Bobby Whitley in the number 60. So 39 cars scheduled to take the green flag tonight here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway as they get rolling off now. The iRacing.com pace car leading them through. We're looking at a race scheduled distance of 100 laps pit road speed. They're going to have to back these machines down to just 50 miles per hour. 4 tire sets are going to be available. They're going to lay 3, start 4 with 2 green-white checkered attempts, and drivers are going to have the opportunity to race with 100% fuel on the iRacing fixed setup.
So with that 100% fuel, we're looking at a 1, maybe a 2-stop race, depending on how the cautions fall here. If we get a long green flag run, we could see some green flag pit stops, but I do not believe, unless we get maybe about 50 laps deep into the run, that that'll really play a factor. The cars will wind their way through turns 3 and 4. On the front row, it's Levi McCarty, and it's Mark Whitley with Morton, Burke, and Ken Huber all inside the top 5, trying to chase him down here on lap 1. The pace car, as we exit turn 4, pulls into the pit lane. It's Levi McCarty, it's Mark Whitley, and as we hit the start zone, we're green at Las Vegas.
Side by side they go as these beautiful V8s come roaring to life And just like that, Levi McCarty going to get a good start over the rest of the field. He's going to hold the low side now as we work through turns 1 and 2, and they roll out of 2 and come down the Nella straightaway for the first time tonight. And he's side by side with a three-way battle for the lead between Mark Whitley, who now overtakes McCarty, with Barrett Morton just aside. They're 3 wide going into turn 3.
And Barrett Morton's got the advantage there down on the bottom lane. He gets the 2-for-1 on lap 1. And the 9 car from P3 will be your leader across the stripe on lap 1. Levi McCarty will drop it right back down to the bottom line. He doesn't want to let Morton get away yet. So he continues to challenge underneath, but he doesn't have the run out. A little bit of a struggle through that corner. He'll slip closer back to Mark Whitley in 3rd. Meanwhile, for 4th, Wesley Burke is holding off Ken Huber in the 4th. You've got Garrett Kinder back there as well in the 4th. All these cars doing battle, but right now it's Barrett Morton pulling away in front of your field.
We work here on lap number 2 as they cross the start-finish line. Barrett Morton, your race leader. Taking a look here, I mean, you know, when you're able to go out there and get that 2-for-1 deal, that's not a bad thing at all. I mean, you know, Barrett took advantage of a battle that was happening early. The person that I'm always watching, though, is way back at the other end of the field, and that's the 72 of Joseph McWhorter. He's already up to 26th position and, you know, gained 6 so far. Sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sky, but sometimes it seems like McWhorter likes to bury himself in the field just so he has a challenge.
We do see that sometimes with McWhorter not taking the qualifying runs that we know he can as he continues to dice his way through the field. You saw him 3 wide there just a moment ago. Already up to P23 now on the inside of Kyle Deering in the 50 for P22. Look at that spot taken pretty quickly there. McWhorter continuing his move through the field as we're side by side for P2. Further up the grid, you've got Mark Whitley and Levi McCarty going at it in that 77 car and in the 18. McCarty trying to fight back on that top lane and get that spot away from your second place starter down there, Mark Whitley. But neither car letting the other one go, and neither car really letting Barrett Morton go. He's not able to pull away from this battle up here in the top 2. As McCarty is running that middle line, trying to get the advantage off the corner. He's going to move down a little bit to try and pinch the 77 off, but it doesn't really work, and they're still side by side across the stripe. Near contact there. McCarty has to slide up the road, and that might be what gives Whitley the spot here on lap 6.
The 77 was really trying to make that work, you know, to the best of his ability. But, you know, here's the thing. I talked about it earlier. That middle groove is the bread and butter for trying to get around this place. There's just enough speed up there where you can try to overtake that driver underneath you without loosening the car too much. It's kind of a setup neutral area. If you get up there toward the wall, you're going to start plowing. As now here in second position is the double natural of Mark Whitley. Barrett Morton able to start gapping McCarty and Whitley early. As I take a look back here, we go on board now with none other than Wesley Burke. And Wesley Burke here kind of taking that same attitude. He's going to hug that white line early in the tire run. You're going to be able to hold that white line at the bottom of the racetrack, but we're going to see some of these cars. Wow, look at those busy hands trying to keep the car underneath. That's that looseness that I was talking about just a moment ago. As it looks like Burke has his hands full with this one. He's going to take this middle groove here and now dip down against the white line. A great onboard performance for Wesley Burke.
And as he tries to avenge his second place finish last week, we're going to get a battle for the lead here as Mark Whitley has put it up the inside of the 9 car of Barrett Morton, who led the first 7 laps of this race. And Morton's not going to put up that big of a fight. Whitley goes straight through in one corner there. Mark Whitley is your new leader at Vegas. Barrett Morton could have tried to move onto the apron there, didn't do it, opted to hold back and keep that car in P2 for now as the battle begins for P3. Wesley Burke. Mentioned it a second ago, but he's off to a great start in the points after a P2 last week, trying to lock himself into the playoffs with a win. He was looking for 3rd, but Levi McCarty ended up grabbing that spot and taking a slide on Morton. Doesn't end up having anything, and these 4 cars are still in this order as we take lap 9.
Yeah, McCarty started to peak to the low side there and now gets around Burke. So it's going to go Whitley, Morton, McCarty, Burke, your top 4. And they're starting to gap the field pretty decently. There's about a 1.3 second distance between Burke and Garrett Kinder. as that's between 4th and 5th. And Kinder now having in a three-way battle with Ken Huber and Dan Cunningham. Daniel here kind of looking from behind. And this is where, the skill can set you apart from the drivers around you. You can look at the situation and think to yourself, hey, let Huber and Kinder duke this one out. Wait for somebody to make a mistake, and you can slide right in there. That's what we saw a little while ago from Barrett Morton.
We saw Kinder right up the racetrack there, and Daniel Cunningham for P6 grab that position as they're side-by-side once again for second place. This battle up here in the top 4 has not calmed down at all, and now it's Levi McCarty in the 18 car on the outside of the 9 of Barrett Morton, trying to take your early leader and put him back to 3rd. McCarty, the pole sitter for this race, hasn't led a lap yet. He's looking to do that here over the next few laps as he continues to work that high side, not just on Morton, but if he can get a good enough run off the corner, maybe on Whitley as well. The 18 car gets clear down the back straightaway for P2, and he'll go right back up to the high side, trying to mount a charge here on the 79 car. Ducks it down to the bottom, looking for every last inch of speed he can manage off the corner.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, one of the things that I find interesting, especially here in the Grand National Series, of course, it's the Toyota Supra, not the Camry that you see in the Cup Series. These Supras and that generator underneath that hood is something special. And that power plant coming to life here in the 18 as he's going to work his way up alongside of Levi McCarty. Now McCarty starts to sweat a little bit here as they are side by side going into turns 3 and 4. They don't touch, and they're giving each other plenty of room. This is a great battle. I mean, I think sometimes this is what sets Goat Locker Racing apart from some of the other leagues that you've seen on the iRacing.com servers. These drivers are able to set themselves, out of the racetrack, give each other plenty of room, and it's a battle of will as they come out of turn 2 and haul it down the backstretch. They are still drag racing, and, oddly enough, this place was a drag strip once upon a time and still is. But nearly touching wheels, they go fender to fender coming out of turn 4. Still nobody the clear leader as they come back to the line, all but being able to waggle fingers at one another through the window net.
Goat Locker is always amazing, especially when it comes to these mile and a halves. You see it at Vegas, you see it at Homestead, you get some great racing. And now Barrett Morton is trying to get himself involved in this great racing back here in 3rd. Had maybe a nose to the inside of McCarty. Now he will take a move up the inside from Wesley Burke. And we're 2 by 2 for 2 rows up here at the front of the field. Mark Whitley still battling for that lead with McCarty as Wesley Burke tries to make the slide for 3rd. Mark Whitley clear back to the race lead here on lap 16. Wesley Burke is in P3, but he's not clear quite yet. Now he will get clear on entry to 1. And as we continue to go door to door for the lead with a great recovery for Levi McCarty to get himself back to the outside, Wesley Burke jumps onto the podium, and Barrett Morton continues to slide backwards.
Going on board now with Levi McCarty. Now McCarty trying to stay up here. You can see that darkened area of the racetrack. That's the groove that you want to stay in. There's plenty of grip in there. And as we ride along with McCarty looking out the windshield, all over the back bumper of Mark Whitley, as Whitley trying to just basically hold McCarty off. Here's the thing. McCarty's trying to match Whitley step for step and maybe, swing out here, try to get a little bit of extra speed on turn exit. Meanwhile, Whitley has to find a way to make that car 4 wide to hold McCarty back behind him.
Yeah, and we've seen some great defending and also some great moves here out of these cars at the front of the field as they have continued to give us a show. Over the course of the first 18 laps of this race, Barrett Morton started 3rd, grabbed that lead early, but after 18 laps, he has slid back to 4th, and it doesn't really look like he has anything for any of these lead cars right now. You see it 7 laps led tonight for Barrett Morton as he continues to run in P4, and Wesley Burke seems to be the big mover as he's now up the inside of Levi McCarty for P2. What can that 04 car do on the inside? Haven't seen him make a challenge for P2 yet, but here he goes. Wesley Burke is going to have that spot across the line, P2, as we take lap 19. And as we head down into turn 1, Burke continues to run right on that white line, trying to keep himself ahead of the hard-charging car of Levi McCarty up there on the top. McCarty's going to get the better run out of the corner, and they will be perfectly even down the back straightaway, heading towards turn 3. And I think Barrett Morton is just going to follow whoever looks like the winning car in this battle and try to make that driver lose 2 spots.
Yeah, Barrett Morton proved earlier in this piece that, he can be patient. He can wait for somebody to make the mistake. Now, the 04, working where they are, Wesley Burke right now running in third position and now back, just a second behind our race leader. It's getting a little dicey for him as they go down the back chute and into turn 3. The 18 holding his ground up atop the racetrack here. But, it just seems to me like McCarty wants to get scrappy with everybody tonight. Every time that we've mentioned McCarty's name, it's not that he's out here running alone. He's up there battling continually as we go on board now with Barrett Morton, who holds the high line once again. Underneath is Wesley Burke, and Burke starting to have his hands full here as they roll out of turn 2 and down the backstretch. Looks like the advantage in that run is going to go to Morton, who gets around Burke.
Yeah, Morton's gotten up to P33 there, and while we were watching this battle up front, Joseph McWhorter, after starting all the way back in 32nd, has clawed that car up to P13 and climbing. He's up 19 spots here in the first 21 laps of this race, by far your biggest mover. No one else has gained more than 7. So Joseph McWhorter is putting on a show so far tonight as he closes in on these top 10 cars and closes in on maybe a race for the lead later on in this one.
That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. McWhorter is the kind of driver that I think sometimes is looking for a challenge, and sometimes I think he just likes to show his rear bumper to the rest of the field for fun. Especially in a situation like this where, hey, I'll start way in the back, if not the back, as now we're battling for position here. Let's take a look at running in 27th is none other than Dakota Cole. Brock Price right now running in 28th, about 0.3 of a second behind. This is, although that it's deeper in the field, this is a big deal, especially, for Brock Price, who's here in the points battle. And I realize that it's only week 2, but this can have implications deeper in the season. We've seen that time and time again, at least for the two of us over in the ARCA Series and here in the Grand National as we get, moving along. And, not to peel the curtain back too much on the 2026 NASCAR season, but I don't know how you feel, but I'm excited that the chase has made a return as well.
I think it'll be pretty fun here as we kind of have it in Goat Locker as we got a battle for second once again. Barrett Morton down on the inside of Levi McCarty, and it looks like he's going to get that move done. So while Mark Whitley is kind of checked out from this lead group, pulled a 1-second lead starting to approach lap traffic, Barrett Morton has gone from 4th back to 2nd to take over a spot in your top 2. Levi McCarty and Wesley Burke are now going to go door to door for P3. Burke had that car up as high as 2nd, but is now slipping back, and McCarty will clear him for 3rd.
It's a great battle, and, I've said it a couple of times now. It just seems like every time we mention the 18, there's a battle around and riding along here with Levi McCarty. On lap number 25, a quarter of this race already over. For some of these drivers, they might be thinking, hey, listen, I can stretch these tires out to about lap 40, but and there's a couple of people out here on the racetrack right now that I think sometimes they take extreme joy in seeing how much rubber they can squeeze out from underneath these cars as they watch that gas gauge get lower and lower. We work here on lap 26 of 100.
As you see some of these leaders getting around some lap cars, that's Colton Siskin, that number 2, that Wii car, all the way up on the high side. You've got Daniel Parks right up here in front of this group as well. So a couple drivers going to get past here, going a lap down, and they will need a caution in quick succession if they are to get that lap back. 27 green, and whoa, Parks. A little bit of a sketchy moment there as McCarty was riding him kind of high on the exit as the faster car. He has to move down the road, no harm, no foul, but that will slow up that 18 car a little bit. Drop him back through the field as now Ken Huber, Judson Curtis, Garrett Kinder work their way through this pack. Battle's really starting to go all over this thing. As you see, these drivers try to navigate the lap traffic, and Daniel Cunningham might be able to get around Ken Huber here pretty soon. That's a 3-way battle with Judson Curtis in the 29 car. That red and blue car up into this, and Judson Curtis is going to get turned around off the nose of Daniel Parks. That'll bring out our first caution of the night.
First caution of the night, taking a nosedive here is the 71. Oh, that was a hard hit. That's going to be ugly, and it's going to have bad implications. Got to hit that fast repair early. As we take a look at the V-Speed instant replay, the 71 as we go on board. holding the high line, making it around, and then off. I don't know what would have caused him to go down. I mean, maybe he thought he was clear, but definitely not, obviously, as it just sets every... Oh! That is not good.
Garrett Kinder took some extracurricular there, but that car was going about 150 and was pointed head-on at the wall, so that could have been so much worse than it actually was for the driver of the 4 car. You saw Mark Cofield get a little bit of extra contact at the end there into the back of the 4. There you go. Those 2 cars are going to take some pretty significant damage. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a faster pair out of either of them here early.
Yeah, the Dirty Mo Media Chevrolet definitely didn't ask for that one, as now Mark Whitley going to be sitting just behind the iRacing.com pace car. And here on lap number 26, we're going to have our first set of caution pit stops here, as it looks like it's going to be wholesale pit stops.
Everybody is going to bring it down here. You've got enough tire sets, 4 total in this race, that you can afford to kind of split this race up into fourths if that is what the cautions dictate here tonight. And I do not believe we are going to get anyone staying out. I think this is going to be a full field pit cycle, 30 laps in here at Vegas for 4 tires of gas. We'll see if anyone gets a little creative. Maybe goes fuel only, maybe goes 2 tires only. Doesn't look like any of your leaders will do that. The left sides go up on all your cars up front. And the first car out of the pits is still going to be Mark Whitley, followed by Barrett Morton narrowly over Wesley Burke.
And as they roll off a pit road, we want to thank our friends over at GTR Simulators. GTR Simulator, a leader in professional-grade racing and flight simulators, delivers immersive, real-world experiences trusted by racers, pilots, educators, and entertainment venues worldwide. From home setups to commercial and training solutions, GTR Simulator puts you in the driver's seat. You can get a special discount for GLR in the shop tab at goatlockerracing.org.
And we thank them for their continued support of Goat Locker Racing as we sit under the first caution here on lap 30 out of 100 tonight. Mark Whitley has been the dominant car early in this one after starting in second. He's led every lap since about lap 8 or so. And after coming into the pits in the lead, he will come out of the pits in the lead. It was the 4-tire call for the entire field there. We did see a couple faster pairs being taken. Looks like Daniel Parks, Darren Price both came down and put some faster pairs on that car. Same with Garrett Kinder, Judson Curtis, and Mark Cofield. So the cars who were all involved in that accident have used the faster pair. Lights on the pace car are off.
Yeah, that means we'll be going back green flag racing this time by. Everybody going to have to get stacked up here, double file, as they follow the iRacing.com pace car. Those free pass cars now making their way back around the racetrack. And I know that's very frustrating, but you know, back during my driving days, I always thought that it was kind of fun to be the free pass car, because you can really get a good head of steam as you come out of 4 while that green flag is waving. As we look on back here out the rear bumper of Mark Whitley, it's going to be an interesting restart with Wesley Burke all over his rear end.
And we'll see how these cars make it on this restart. I think we're going to see a pretty good jump from Mark Whitley down there on the bottom line. He's always a contender. He always does really well on these restarts, and I would not be surprised if he is able to get a good jump right here. As it is Mark Whitley and Barrett Morton up on your front row as we enter the extreme scoring restart zone. The pace car pulls in, and we are green on lap 31 at Las Vegas.
It was almost a perfectly timed caution because it was just getting toward the end of that round of tires. Of course, right now, as we get a good restart here, we take a quick look. Track temp just 77 degrees, so plenty of grip here. And then, of course, the outdoor ambient air, 66. So nice and comfy here in the desert. As looking to the inside, that's Wesley Burke. As Burke looks to the inside now, Levi McCarty in the 18 starting to battle up, while Barrett Morton's got his hands full with the 77 and the 18. I'm sorry, the 04 and the 18 just behind him. They're all trying to chase the 77 of Mark Whitley.
And Mark Whitley is really checked out there in that 77 car, 4/10 of a second lead after a great restart The battle is for second with Levi McCarty up on the outside of Barrett Morton. And McCarty is going to get clear there into turn 3. Had a great run down the back straightaway there after a good exit of turn 2. And that 18 car has checked out. Morton will look down to the inside, but no room is left. McCarty blocks him off perfectly and holds P2 back down into turn 1. Burke is looking for a lane as the battle for 5th is going as well. Cunningham on the outside of Ken Huber for that one.
You know, I know during that first segment of this race, as we take a look here at the 88 of Daniel Cunningham, we were starting to have some of those lap cars fall into play in front of our leaders. But, you know, sometimes I feel like that caution flag comes out just in time to get everybody bunched back up. It keeps the racing really exciting right here on V-Speed. Want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight as some of these drivers go single file, but they've decided to go out and battle here. That's Garrett Kinder in the 4 machine. After just being involved in that wreck a moment ago, all of a sudden working his way back up through the field. He's still down 3 from where he qualified, but now we take a peek at Samuel Joseph here in the 35, just ahead of Judson Curtis and Garrett Kinder. And, you know, we take a look inside the racing room, if you will, of Sam Joseph. And, you know, one of the things that we've talked about before is the focus of this driver. You know, sometimes you see somebody, you know, maybe puffing on a lung dart, or maybe texting while they're driving, but Joseph is always just dialed in, not blinking. I think we should have him checked by the men in black just in case he is an alien, because he's not blinking whatsoever.
Back behind him, Garrett Kinder hit the wall, and that is not what you want to do if you are one of these cars who has already taken your fast repair, because, I mean, it wasn't too big of a hit, but that can certainly give some damage if you're Garrett Kinder in the 4, and any damage that you take from here to the end of the race is going to have to be fixed in real time. No fast repair given, so he's got to be a little more careful when he runs that high line to ensure he doesn't give any big damage to his car. As we got good battles going on right now, Wesley Burke, caution flies. Wesley Burke had just taken over 3rd as the 57 car of Chuck Sweeting is around further back.
Yeah, second caution of the night as Chuck Sweeting back in 30th, now 31st. Is going to have to get this thing gathered up as he sits down along that not-so-safer barrier to the inside of the racetrack. He's going to have to get back up in line for the time being. As we work here on lap number 38, let's take a look at the V-Speed instant replay.
Very similar to our last accident here.
Yeah, and almost in the same neighborhood.
It's kind of at the same spot on the racetrack where Sweeting just goes a little bit down on the racetrack, grabs Tyler Gebbin, who was on the inside of him in that all-black car. That's the number 47 of Gebbin. And kind of got turned in the wall. Sweeting came down, tagged Brandon Wallace in the 99, and they both came up on the racetrack. Wallace got some hits to Gebbin as well, and that was honestly maybe the worst hit of this whole thing.
Well, you know, coming out of turn 2 and all of that energy that unloads from the car on turn exit, that has a huge bearing on the stability of the car. I mean, you know, that backstretch, at least for my money, at 9 degrees of banking, that there's still just enough coming out of, you know, that 20-degree banking of turn 2 where once that energy starts to transfer, it's hard to gather that thing up once again. And, of course, we also want everybody to support the sport and the mission with Goat Locker Racing at glrwebstore.com. You'll find quality racing apparel, hats, and gear, and every purchase supports veterans, active military, and first responders. Your order also helps fuel our mission and fight back against mental health challenges facing our community. Great gear, real purpose. Visit glrwebstore.com.
And while we are under caution, we might as well go for another one of our great partners here at Goat Locker Racing who help keep this whole series going night in and night out. That is Glove Station. At Glove Station, they are committed to providing quality gloves and protective gear for a wide range of your daily activities and jobs. From tinkering on home DIYs to working in industrial environments and everything in between, Glove Station has got you covered. With the endless amounts of safety products on the market, they want to make it effortless for you to find the right protection for your needs. Glove Station's always been a partner of Goat Locker Racing, and we thank them for everything they do in supporting this series and supporting veterans. We'll go back green with 41 to go. What are you looking at, Dave, on this restart?
I mean, you know, everything that we've seen so far from these drivers, I think what I'm looking for right now is more consistency. At least from everything that we've seen so far tonight, I think we're going to see a really nice, steady restart, but once again, a battle up atop the pile.
And we'll see how it shakes out. Barrett Morton has slid back to fourth, and on this restart in the front row, it'll be Mark Whitley and Levi McCarty in the 77 and the 18, respectively. McCarty, despite being your pole sitter, hasn't really gotten the lead any laps tonight. Barrett Morton took the first 7 laps, and Mark Whitley has been on cruise control up front ever since. EOL penalty given as a result of that incident will go to the 57 car of Chuck Sweeting for responsibility, and he will go to the back of the field and set back in 34th. Only 4 cars laps down right now. We have lost Colton Sisk and Jamie Libke 2 laps down respectively. Darren Price 7, Bobby Whitley, I believe, is out of the race in that 60 car, 15 laps down. As we get ready to go once again at Las Vegas on lap 40, these drivers are going to need to make one more pit stop. They can't make it the whole way, but if we get a good green flag run in here, they could really make it work on one more tire run. Pace car will pull in this time out of turn 4. We'll slide on down to the extreme scoring restart zone. Whitley hits that white line. He jumps, and we're green once again at Las Vegas. It's a great jump for the inside line. It's not a great jump for Levi McCarty. Wesley Burke will challenge for P2.
Wesley Burke has been battling it out all night long. I mean, after qualifying in P4, Burke has maintained that top 5 position almost all night long. The thing that I'd be afraid of if I was Wesley Burke or Levi McCarty is look who's in their rearview mirror. It's Joseph McWhorter just behind. Up 28. Oh, Austin is out. Good God.
Big one there on the back straightaway. Quite a few cars look to be involved in that one. I think it was the 80 of Kevin Price was that car we saw take a big hit to the inside wall. But that did not start with him. That started quite a ways in front of him. And it's going to be in a very similar spot and a very similar accident to the first 2 we've had. And with one similar car, Armando Melgoza in the 78 just down into Tyler Gebbin there. And it all stacks up. The 68 takes a big hit as well. That's Darren Price already multiple laps down. His day's going to get worse. And then you saw Price, Melgoza dive into that inside wall and take some big hits of their own.
Yeah, as we go on board here with Melgoza, we saw Melgoza during the ARCA series last year in a couple of bad situations, but this time this was just another hook coming out of turn 2. And, we're 3 for 3 right now on turn 2 exit wrecks. That seems to be Calamity Corner tonight.
Kevin Price didn't even hit anybody. He just lost control. You'll see it here. He gets on the brakes to avoid it and just loses the car. It goes around on him.
Oof. Well, we're going to have to pick that sheet metal up. Obviously, track staff going to have to be collecting some things off the asphalt here.
Melgoza might have been able to avoid some of the worst damage to that wall if he just kind of got on the brakes there. It looked like he didn't really hit the brakes at any point in that spin, and it just spiraled away from him into the inside wall. You'll see quite a few cars in pit road here. No one of the leaders is going to come in, but some of the cars who are at the back of the field, some of the cars who have been involved in accidents will come down to grab some tires, grab some fuel, grab a fast repair here on lap 43.
Yeah, really no reason not to. You've got the time, you've got the opportunity. And speaking of which, you can head on over to Alexander PCs, and they're a custom and gaming PC builder who have been building and modding systems since 2002. They're a veteran-owned and operated family business, and all of the team members, support, and production are U.S.-based. All desktop PCs come with an industry-best lifetime limited warranty and service guarantee. Work, play, conquer, Alexander PCs. And, of course, we want to thank them for all of their support here on Goat Locker Racing. And, of course, we want to thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight at the Invets Grand National Series live on V-Speed. And, I know that this is our second season working together, Sky, but I was really looking forward to seeing the Grand National tonight. And of course, after being absent last week, but 43 laps in the books, these drivers are making this look easy.
Yeah, a couple cautions so far, but we got those first 30 or so laps out of the way green. It was a great start to this one. And now, after that quick caution, we're going to see a pretty big change up front here. McCarty has gone from second back to fourth after a bad restart. And it will be Wesley Burke up here on this front row in that 04 car. First time he's been up there all night. What can he do? I'd like to correct myself. McCarty will go to third. Either way, he will be on that second row. Joseph McWhorter will be up on his outside in the 72. He got around Barrett Morton as a result of that outside lane struggling. So we make our way down the back straightaway here. We're going to have 56 to go. You got anything, Dave?
Yeah, all I was going to say was we should be getting ready to go green flag racing once again as the iRacing.com pace car leads us down the backstretch and into turn 3. And, once that green flag flies, I think some of these drivers, there's got to be a little bit of frustration on race radio right now, maybe in the Discord chatter. Hey guys, let's pull this thing together. Let's try to, get our heads out of the sand, if you will, and get back to that first, segment where, we went 31 laps without a caution, and now all of a sudden have had 2 more in the last 14. As the iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road, the man in the stand with the green flag in his hand, we're going to hit the extreme scoring restart zone, and we're back underway here on lap number 44.
And it's another great jump for those cars on the inside. Mark Whitley has really timed those restarts well all race long. And third place, Levi McCarty will quickly swoop around third place. Second place, Wesley Burke. And now here comes Joseph McWhorter as we're 3 wide behind him. This is the battle right now for P8. You've got Joseph Kinder, Judson Curtis up here in this one. We're going crazy all over the racetrack here for position. But Joseph is going to be the one who ultimately grabs that spot. Wesley Burke has slid all the way back to fourth. Joseph McWhorter up in P2. After starting 32nd, it only took him 45 laps to challenge for the lead.
And this is one of those classic Joseph McWhorter moves. You start yourself back in 32nd, you climb.
Whoa!
Wow! Watch Samuel Joseph go pirouetting down the backstretch. My God. The wheels weren't even touching the asphalt, and he had nothing but a prayer and to hang on for dear life. As he hits the tow button, he's going to have to get dragged down to the pits right away. As we go to the V-Speed instant replay, let's see what happens here. There's Joseph on the low side.
He's going to get tight off the corner, just door that 4 car, and it's going to send that car straight in to that curved wall that sends it back up on the track. Nowhere for Christopher Heiner to go.
No, you saw that wiggle come out of the 35 there. And it's almost like he caught it being tight, tried to correct it, overcorrected, and boom goes the proverbial dynamite here on lap number 47 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
We'll see that one more time here. This is on board that car, that 32 of Christopher Heiner. You see Joseph go down. He comes back up the track. I mean, there's no avoiding this one. He tries to pull it down to the inside. Couldn't go high because he had a car outside of him, and it just wasn't enough. That one car is going to have to use a fast repair, and I think he's likely going to have to tow. That is a bad one.
Yeah, that's a rough way to work here, as that's going to trigger a couple more pit stops, if you will, as we work even deeper into this race. Everybody going to come on down pit road, as it's going to be wholesale pit stops right now on lap number 47.
Well, for all these cars that are coming down pit road, they're only going to have one more set of tires to last them for the last 53 laps of this race. So if we see a stop now, I would anticipate probably still seeing one more. I'd imagine if we get a caution, maybe around lap 70, 75, that's when we're likely to see it. Maybe we'll have some strategy in when the caution comes out, but we will have some cars staying out there, as it looks like it's going to be Chuck Sweeting in the 57 car coming around to end up leading this pack. He looks like he stayed out. He came down for fuel 5 laps ago. Price and Darrell Whitford also will stay out. All the leaders came down for fuel only there, and then the first cars who actually used that set of tires are back in 12th through 14th. Several of your leaders, McWhorter, Burke, and Curtis, all decided to put tires on it, but the drivers up here The top 10 are all fuel only.
Yeah, and that's kind of the contrast that you're able to see, especially when you've got a couple of lap cars and, of course, your lead lap cars, in addition to those leaders all the way up front. Everybody's now there's basically 3 pit stop strategies on the racetrack. That is a little bit of a connection issue here for the 43 of Brock Price. He'll get that cleared up, I'm sure. Hopefully he's not one of the people affected by this massive winter snowstorm that's been making its way across the country. And we also want to thank our friends over at Invets. Invets aids in transitioning to civilian life, focusing on job placement and finding the right community for veterans and their families to ensure their success and happiness. They're a veteran nonprofit in Indiana with the goal of bringing veterans to that state to live and work. And of course, they are our title sponsor here on Sunday night. And we want to thank them for being partnered up with Goat Locker Racing and the Grand National Series right here on V-Speed. Dave Regal and Sky Shrek with you in the broadcast booth. Eddie Smith working the 1s and 2s and everything in between back in the production truck. So we thank everybody for hanging out with us for the evening tonight here on YouTube.
We will get ready to go on lap 50 out of 100 halfway through this thing. Your top 3 cars have all stayed out, but the catch is they're on the same tire strategy. They pitted for fuel only, but they pit 5 laps later than your cars up front. So everybody is running the same set of rubber back to P12, Joseph McWhorter. He will be the first car on 4 fresh tires, and we'll see how he's able to drive up through the field. How will Chuck Sweeting, Brock Price, and Daryl Whitford hang on up here in the top 3? We haven't seen any of these drivers up front tonight. Only one of them started in the top 25, but they're going to make up the top 3. As the pace car comes in, Sweeting and Price head into the extreme scoring restart zone. Sweeting goes at the very end of it, and we're green at Vegas.
To your point, seeing McWhorter back here on those fresh tires, nothing like being 12 sitting ducks, with nothing but you and a prayer between yourself and Joseph McWhorter. They almost go 4 wide as they haul it down toward the backstretch. It is just a mess of cars. If one person flicks their wrist the wrong way, this is going to have major negative implications. And there they go.
09 car around, getting some air into the outside wall.
Oh.
That is the big one in turn 4.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to see the big one as we go up here to the blimp cam and watch everybody try to scurry away. And, that's definitely not what you want to see here as we just crossed the halfway point. 50 laps to go as we go to the V-Speed Instant Replay.
Davis in the 09, Stephon Davis just barely got tagged by that 20 of Daryl Whitford as they split him 3 wide down into this corner. Davis just got turned in front of the field there, hits Burke, and everybody stacks up behind him. I see Cofield in there, kind of giving a ride to the 09 car. And Wallace is involved in that. We've got cars spiraled everywhere. Kevin Price, Jamie Libke. Oof.
Yeah, definitely one of those situations where some of these drivers are thinking right now they're slamming their hands into those sim wheels. They're not happy as we're going to go on board with Samuel Joseph here in the 35, who was involved earlier in a wreck. And now he gets to see this thing unfold in front of him. He's going to peek down here to the low side. He's looking for anywhere he can go, and there just is no place. It's rush hour on the Schuylkill Expressway, and Samuel Joseph just got himself gobbled up.
Good job to get that thing slowed down, though, because that could have been so much worse if he went plowing into one of those cars. If he got any contact, it was very, very minor there in that 35 car. He did a great job to make it out intact. Chuck Sweeting is going to hold your lead here. The other 2 cars had problems, slipped back through the field, not the 57. He's still up front, maintained the lead for that lap that we got in there. And Chuck Sweeting will once again try to hold off Mark Whitley on this restart with Barrett Morton. Joseph McWhorter, who's already in 4th after pitting on that last stop for 4 tires and going back to 12th, and Garrett Kinder in 5th. Who is on that fuel-only strategy. Next car on 4 behind McWhorter is Frederick Seagraves in 9th.
And I feel like sometimes we wind up talking about Joseph McWhorter a lot during our broadcasts, but, he's earned every bit of screen time that he gets, because there's a lot of work that has to go through cutting through all of these drivers. I mean, 28 at this point, and he still has the lead in his sights.
Yeah, McWhorter has a ton of speed out on the racetrack tonight. He is such a good driver, especially at these 1.5-mile tracks. When we raced about a year ago or so now in the ARCA Summer Series, McWhorter was on it every night. And when we went to the 1.5 miles, when we went to tracks like this, like Kentucky, McWhorter was just blowing out the field night in, night out. We know he can do it. Him and Mark Whitley is going to be a show all season, and Barrett Morton is going to be a strong contender in that as well.
Yeah, if you're new to the Goat Locker way of life, I mean, the two names that you're going to hear almost every night here on V-Speed are going to be Mark Whitley and Joseph McWhorter. I expect a great battle out of them. I mean, I know that we got to see them fight it out all last season in the Glove Station ARCA Series. And, here as they've moved into the Grand National, this to me is just, it's exciting. It's exciting to see these drivers at a different level in two different cars, in a different setup. I think it's incredible just to see what they can do in each level of stock car racing.
And we're going to see a great battle here. How can this 57 car of Chuck Sweeting hold on to this lead when he is being pursued by, I would say, arguably the three favorites to win the championship behind him in Whitley, McWhorter, and Barrett Morton? We're going to find out. The pace car pulls in. We enter the extreme scoring restart zone. Sweeting goes late, stacks everybody up, but we are back green at Vegas. And let's see if Barrett Morton can push that 57 car up the road.
Another strong restart here, but we've had nothing but good battles up atop the pile. I mean, most of the problems that we've seen coming out of turn 2 are from deeper in the field, and they're all bunched up again. This has implications to do the same thing that we saw just a few moments ago, as now there's a four-way battle for the lead as they roll from turn 3 to turn 4 and on their way back to the front stretch. My God, if you didn't pucker up, I sure did for you. As now coming out atop the pile, going to be the double natural of Mark Whitley. He's got Chuck Sweeting, Joseph McWhorter, and Barrett Morton in tow. Oh, Lord
McWhorter
almighty.
is loose. I don't know how he's holding on to this car. He is giving it everything he can handle in the 73. That's the second straight corner where that car has almost stepped out on him. Man, he's on cold tires here, but he is driving it like his life is on the line, trying to get around Sweeting for P2.
Yeah, you can see that orange tape at the top of the steering wheel just wiggling back and forth as he is holding on for dear life. I don't know what he's done. Oh, the 87 just washed up the racetrack. I'm sorry, the 57 just washed up the racetrack. And my goodness, that was near disaster for Joseph McWhorter, who has put a ton of work in. We work here on lap number 56 of 100 in the Invets Grand National Series live on V-Speed. And right now, Joseph McWhorter in the 72, trailing Mark Whitley by just a little bit less than 0.3 of a second.
And by the way, message from race control is restart is under review. So we saw some bumping on that restart, almost saw the outside line kind of get the better jump there because of how late that 57 car of Chuck Sweeting opted to go. The restart is under review, and we'll see if anything comes as a result of that. And we'll see if anything comes as a result of this move from Joseph McWhorter down onto the apron. He's going to go side by side with Mark Whitley, getting aggressive here on 4 tires to take this lead away. As he slides up the track a little bit, Mark Whitley will have the advantage on the high side. He'll get clear for the lead of the race, but the 73 is still there, and one more dive has him back on the inside.
Yeah, McWhorter trying to hold his ground here on the low side. I mean, he is battling it out with Mark Whitley. We've seen this game a million times, but every time the result turns out to be something different. McWhorter muscling his way underneath the 77, and now the 73, our sole leader. We started with a four-way battle for the lead. It narrowed itself down to 3, then there were 2, and now there is one leader, and his name is Joseph McWhorter. We work here on lap number 59 of 100. It's going to go McWhorter, Whitley, Sweeting, Morton, Cunningham. And Cunningham back in the 88, he's got to be just about the happiest driver out there right now. He's got a little bit of room in front of him, a lot of room behind him, and he's got plenty of real estate to keep that thing clean as he now makes his way past Barrett Morton into 4th position. Another good pass as Cunningham has worked his way up 4 positions nice and easy. He's got his sights on Chuck Sweeting next, and don't look now, but Chuck Sweeting up 28 positions after the drop of the green flag. That takes a lot of work in this league and against these drivers.
He's doing a good job of holding that position after playing the pit strategy to get up there in the first place. You saw the cars who were with him fall back through the field, get involved in that wreck. Hasn't happened to the 57. He's doing a great job to hang around. Penalty has been given on that restart. It wasn't to any of the leaders. It was to Devontae Drain, taking a drive-through penalty in the 33 car. He was running 15th at the time, and I would assume that would be related to maybe a lane change or something on that 33. But after running in 15th, he's going to get a restart violation. He'll have to drive through the pits, and he will go a lap down. A lot of recovery ahead for Devontae Drain as we continue to race further back in the field. This is Ken Huberl. The caution will come out first. It is for the 20 car. Backwards on the front straightaway. That's Daryl Whitford. Sam Yosef involved in this heavy as well.
Sam Yosef probably should have taken the subway instead of eating the subway.
Well, this is going to be contact between Whitford and Yosef. Sorry about that, Dave. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it seems like he's been involved in the last 3 incidents, and this time he's right at the epicenter of it. And, I mean, even the cameraman starts to shake here as it looks, all of a sudden he's facing the wrong direction.
Yeah, Yosef just, I mean, he came up and then the 20 came down at the same time. Whitford maybe just exiting the corner kind of lower than you would expect a car to exit the corner at Vegas right there. Usually they wash up to the wall, and Whitford just kind of hung it in the middle lane, and that is what sent him around. 35 gets tagged from behind and then takes a couple of ping pong hits up into the outside wall. That was a nasty hit for Tyler Gebbin in the 47. He's been in a couple tonight. 90 of Dave Calvert takes a huge one as well.
Yeah, Dave Calvert, another GLR driver, gets himself turned back around and go on board now with Calvert in the 90. He's going to see, now you can see that yellow 35 a couple of car lengths ahead of him, so he's got some reaction time. And it almost seems like he thought that he could get away with this one by just keeping his foot in the throttle. Not so fast, my friend, as all of a sudden he winds up against the safer barrier and going in the wrong direction in that RC Cola Chevrolet.
We will get that turned around with 40 laps to go here at Las Vegas in the Invets Grand National Series. Joseph McWhorter has the lead because we've got some pit stops underway. Mark Whitley is going to bring it down pit road, and he'll be joined by, I would say, far fewer cars than he wanted to be joined by. Morton will come down with him, but the top 17 on this restart will all stay out. And Mark Whitley is going to come out of the pits with 4 fresh tires in 18th position with Cunningham, Sweeting, Mickey Isaac behind him. And Morton is in the pits for about 27 seconds now. So maybe some damage repair going on for Barrett Morton. That is going to be potentially disastrous for him if he can't get that car out in time.
Yeah, taking a look here as we work on lap number 64, it's going to be, when we go back green flag racing, it's going to be McWhorter, Dooling, McCarty, Burke, and Horner, your top 5. And Joseph McWhorter, after just leading his best lap tonight, is 30.529. I mean, you know, he has managed to be the fast driver and the best driver and the strongest driver once again. It's just, to me, it's an incredible performance out of him.
I mean, we've seen some great drivers with great performances tonight. Haven't seen much of Wyatt Dooling in the 51 car, but he has kind of quietly maneuvered this thing into a good position. Was one of those drivers who took 4 tires with Joseph McWhorter there on that pit stop, and now he's in a really good spot up here in second, up from 26 to P2. He'll go from the outside of the front row. We'll see what he's able to do. We'll see if Mark Whitley is able to drive from 19th back up to first here on 4 tires.
Yeah, you know, the pit strategies now are, once you make your bet in this situation, that's going to be it for you. I mean, you know, basically just a few laps left in this one. I mean, you know, we work right now on lap number 65, so it's 35 to go till the checkered flag flies, potentially. Of course, we've got 2 green-white checker attempts possible, so basically a max of, let's just say, in and around 107 or 108 laps, depending on what happens here at the end of this one. As the iRacing.com pace car lights are out, we're going to get ready to go back green flag racing.
It will be Joseph McWhorter up on that pole position here with this restart with 35 laps to go. Can he hold on? Does he need another pit stop? And will that give the advantage to Mark Whitley? Wyatt Dooling will go from the high side. McCarty, Burke, and Zach Horner, the rest of your top 5. We hit the extreme scoring restart zone. McWhorter gets a great jump. The outside struggles to go. And it'll be Levi McCarty into P2 before we even enter turn 1. We're green at Vegas.
As the green flag flies, Joseph McWhorter going to set himself apart from the rest of the field. And already he's gapping by just about 0.2 of a second over Levi McCarty. And the 09 this time going to be involved. Good Lord Jesus. That is not a good feeling. This late in the race, that's for sure. As Stephon Davis.
Yeah.
Stephon Davis has got to be angrier than a hornet in a Coke can.
He's already been in one tonight, and you're going to see him just kind of dink it off the outside wall here. Gets way more of a bounce than he would have liked. Comes down into the 52 and turns himself up into that wall, up into Ken Huber. And that is the accident right there for Stephon Davis. Major damage on that 09 car.
You know, we use the term accident. It's definitely preventable as we go on board with Ken Huber. Right now running in 27th position. And as he sees what's happening ahead of him, there's just nothing that he's going to be able to do to avoid this disaster. Other than pray if you got him. But he's got no reaction time and has no choice but to make contact with the 09 as the hood flops up on the 40.
Yeah, that was a rough start for him. I think he does have that fast repair, so he's going to be in hopefully decent shape. No, he doesn't. I do not think Ken Huber actually has that fast repair anymore, so he might be done for the night. He is done for the night. Ken Huber just left the session, and after what looked like maybe a top 10 run, he is going to be out of the race. Stephon Davis also has used that fast repair, and he is going to have to fix all this damage in real time, and he's got quite a bit of it on the rear of that 09 car.
Yeah, and you know, the fast repair is great, especially when you get involved in something that wasn't, you know, quote unquote, your fault. But as we work deeper into the night, I mean, you know, you find yourself in a situation where you're thinking, hey, listen, I burned it because it wasn't my fault. I got into something else that, again, you know, wasn't something I could control, but then it wrecks your evening. And I'm sure as he ripped his headset off and threw it at the monitor, Ken Huber's got to be frustrated.
Stephon Davis will take the cause of caution EOL, but I do not think it will matter as he is going to have a lot of damage to fix in that pit box before we see Stephon Davis back out on the racetrack. 32 to go here at Vegas. We ran 30 laps green there at the start. The last 38 laps have been kind of a race of attrition here with all these cautions. Who's your pick for the rest of the way, Dave?
I mean, you know, the smart money goes with Joseph McWhorter. That's the safe money, at least. But something tells me that Burke is going to, you know, at least challenge for this lead deep into this race.
We will see. I think McWhorter's got a good shot of it. I think Mark Whitley is a good shot of it. Already back up to 13th there in that 77 car. If he can get back through the field without getting himself involved in any major accidents, he's going to have a really good chance at it here for the rest of this one, especially if these drivers in front of him still have to make a pit stop. That could heavily swing the balance over towards Mark Whitley and put him in a good position for the rest of this race. As the lights on the pace car are off, we're getting back double file and ready to go here from Las Vegas, and it is going to be a shootout to the end of this one. Let's see who's able to grab the checkered flag.
Yeah, this has been interesting, and I mean, you know, at least for me, being my first season, you know, my first race back after the end of last season, and then, of course, my first here with the Invets Grand National Series. I think these drivers are putting on a heck of a show, and I hope that you folks at home are enjoying this the same way that we are.
Yeah, we've had quite a fun race tonight, and I think we're only going to continue to have a fun race over the remaining 31 laps of this one. As we get set and we get ready to go, it'll be Joseph McWhorter on the outside, Levi McCarty in that 18 car, rolling on the bottom. Back behind him, Wyatt Dooling from 4th, Wesley Burke back up through the field in P3, and it'll be Zach Horner in the 25 car on that inside line, sitting in 5th. Haven't really talked about him at all tonight, but he's quietly had a good run for himself. Pace car is in. It's McWhorter as the control car. He'll hit the extreme scoring restart zone. Good jump on the outside. We're back green. 30 to go at Vegas.
You know, the moment that McWhorter dropped the hammer, he took off as if he was a shot out of a cannon. He gets a good, decent jump over McCarty, who now trails by 0.2 of a second and then some. It seems like McWhorter just has that thing timed just perfectly, and he's almost able to, it's like a hard count in football. The line's not expecting it, and all of a sudden you've got yourself a great advantage as we go side by side here, taking a look at Mark Whitley in the 77, working his way back up through the field. Whitley not really happy with after qualifying on the front row, but he's guaranteed to be up in that neck of the woods in just a few short laps.
As McCarty continues to try to chase down McWhorter, he'll dive it up to the inside here in that 18 car. Battle for the lead is on. Levi McCarty hasn't really gotten the chance to lead any laps today as he tries to dethrone McWhorter, but the 73 car holds strong exiting turn 4 and will have a nice solid 1 car length lead across the start finish line. How about Mark Whitley all the way back up to P8, now digging on the inside of the 45 of Cody Turner, currently running in P7. Could see that car up here racing in this side-by-side battle for the lead very soon as McCarty is back on the top, doing anything he can to try to dethrone McWhorter at the front of the field.
Yeah, all of a sudden we've got another side-by-side battle. And I mean, you know, McCarty we've mentioned many times. And you know, all things considered, every time we see him, he's out here battling. And I mean, if he gets himself a podium, if not the checkered flag, we can definitely say that he's earned it, especially when you're up here with the cream of the crop. Joseph McWhorter side by side down into turn 3. McWhorter underneath in the 73, holding his ground. Don't look now, though. Wesley Burke creeping around. He is like a lion in the middle of the Serengeti, just waiting for that gazelle to make a mistake. And that gazelle being Joseph McWhorter, he doesn't make that many mistakes, and we've seen him make some pretty ballsy moves, taking the apron to get, you know, in contention of the lead earlier, and now he doesn't want to let that go. He said, hey, listen, if you want this lead, you've got to grip it from my cold, dead hands.
It's been a minute since that 04 car has been down to put tires on that thing as well, so he is running on some older rubber behind the wheel of that car, and yet he's making it work very well for himself. Wesley Burke continues to follow in pursuit. As big move onto the apron for Levi McCarty right here to try and dethrone McWhorter. Took a chance there. Let's see if he can make it work on the inside of 1 and 2. He's going to slide up the road a little bit, but he keeps it down there. Keeps the advantage off turn 2. McWhorter just has too much momentum up on the top, and he'll get back ahead. 25 to go. We're door to door for the lead. We almost tag each other for the lead. We do tag each other for the lead. Loose off the corner. Here comes Wesley Burke to P2 as McWhorter gets away out front.
Wesley Burke waited for his opportunity. He now works his way into second position. He saw the door open and he wasn't going to waste any time. He now climbs just here about just less than 0.2 of a second behind McWhorter. He's got to start to gap McCarty. That way he's not trying to fight this war on 2 different fronts. Right now, the only thing he really has to worry about is who's in the crosshair, and that's Joseph McWhorter. He's able to match McWhorter step for step. He peeks to the low side, tucks himself back in. Now he's going to peek to the high side, tuck himself back in. Underneath again, we look out from the rear bumper of Joseph McWhorter back to Wesley Burke, and Burke trying to figure out a way, how do you get around Joseph McWhorter? He does not make this easy. He now peeks to the inside, and all of a sudden he goes fender to fender, and Wesley Burke wants to contend for the lead. He makes a good run underneath, and you're race leader is now Wesley Burke in the 04.
What a move there. Wesley Burke is going to get his first lap led of the night in the 04 car, but McWhorter will go right back down under him. This is the battle for the lead right now. I'm watching Mark Whitley in the 77. Newest tires in the field, already up to fourth, driving like crazy to get this car back up the field. And if there's anyone who I would pick to win this race down the stretch, it's Mark Whitley. He's going 0.2 faster than all these cars up here. He's got McCarty in his sights as Wesley Burke runs that middle lane, continuing to hold off McWhorter.
We work here in the twilight of this race, 22 to go. Wesley Burke, your race leader, he's gained just 3 spots after qualifying P4. Lap car getting out of the way, and oh, the 18 goes all the way up to the wall, and now Levi McCarty gets himself into this battle as well. He runs in P4. Joseph McWhorter, basically, he's got to be steaming out of his ears as he's trying to figure out how on earth did I lose my race lead to Wesley Burke. Well, Burke earned it. He worked his tail off, did the job, and now McWhorter is going to be challenging him along with Levi McCarty as they're both going to go after Burke for the lead.
Here comes Mark Whitley on the bottom, going to go door to door with Wesley Burke for the lead of this one. Just got around McWhorter. You saw it there for P2, and now Mark Whitley, who's led the most laps tonight, is going to try to get the lead back and lead the last 20. It was a great decision for him to bring that car down pit road, and it's going to work out because as we take lap 81, Mark Whitley is your race leader, and all he needs is a good run through 1 and 2. He'll get it, and he'll be clear of Wesley Burke.
Mark Whitley now coming back into the race lead. He qualified P2. He now sits P1 for the time being. Brock Price overcoming Mason Mayor back in a battle for 15th position. It's a busy night up here with just 20 laps to go at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You're watching the Invets Grand National Series live on V-Speed. And my goodness, these Goat Locker Racing drivers are putting on a show here in the twilight.
As we have a disconnection, Jamie Libke is out of the session with connection issues. Now, you mentioned it earlier, we had some drivers who couldn't make it tonight due to snow across the country, and Jamie Libke may be a victim of that snowstorm there with the connection issues. As Mark Whitley continues to hold the lead of this race and is only checking out, 0.45 is the gap right now to Wesley Burke, who's going to be under threat from McWhorter. You've got McCarty and you've got Daniel Cunningham in this 88 car back here. Cunningham, the next car on the same pit strategy as Whitley. So is the 57 of Chuck Sweeting, who really turned his race around with a strategy call earlier on in this one and has been running up in the top 10 ever since. Great run for that 57. This is exactly what he needs here in the second race of the season.
I do want to give a tip of the cap to Daniel Cunningham. I mean, here's a driver who's in the top 5. Cunningham gains 3 positions after qualifying in P8. This is the same driver who checked in with us before the race, as of course you and I both affected by the snow. I'm working from let's just say a non-traditional remote location tonight from the day job. But Cunningham said, hey, listen, if you guys are having trouble, he could have hopped in here. So I do appreciate the offer. And of course, I see now Cunningham should never have offered that. He's running top 5.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've got about 7 inches of snow here, which by Oklahoma standards means the apocalypse has come. Everything's been closed for about 4 days, and I've been trapped inside my house. As they all get around that lapped car back there, that's Stephon Davis up on the wall. No caution going to come, but Stephon Davis was going about 90 around the high side of the racetrack there with a problem. He'll get it back up to speed, and we won't have a yellow as Levi McCarty continues to try to hold off Daniel Cunningham, is going to maybe swoop it down to the inside. Here we go. 88's going to look down onto the apron. We've seen a couple cars try that apron move tonight, but none have really been able to find success with it. It's going to work out for Cunningham, though, on fresher tires. He gets a good dive. He's going to try the slider, and it's not going to work out. And the 18 will be right back to his door down the back straightaway. Here comes Chuck Sweeting into this.
Yeah, Chuck Sweeting wants to dance around here as, now we've got a 4-car battle for essentially 4th position. All of a sudden, it's the 18, it's the 88, the 9, the 57. These 4 drivers, they've got a lot to prove tonight as we now work with just 13 laps to go at the line. And I mean, for the time being, the 18 going to hold P. Nope. The 18, yep, they're going to just be exchanging 4th and 5th positions here as we work on lap number 87. The 88 now sticking his nose right underneath Barrett Morton in the 9. He's got his eyes set dead on Levi McCarty. Cunningham is...
Tags the wall, there they go. Cunningham around, Barrett Morton wrecked as well. And the caution will fly with 12 to go. 2 of your leaders in big trouble on the front straightaway.
I don't want to cause broadcasters curse, but that kind of felt like it. We see Barrett Morton working the high side. They come down into turn 3. And just underneath, just looking to see if there was an overcorrection, maybe a loose condition coming out of 4 on the front stretch.
Both cars have fast repairs, which is the lucky part of this. The unlucky part of this is that once they get the fast repair and then get back out on the track, they're going to have about 9 laps to try to go all the way back through the field.
Yeah, that's called a lot of work ahead of them. As we
not an amount of laps you want.
No. You know, the thing that always gets me in motorsports, whether it's here on the iRacing.com server in the sim world or in the real world, every race car driver, no matter who they are, says, if I just had 1 more lap, if I just had 2 more laps, and I feel like that's going to be what we hear from those drivers should they make the podium tonight.
Well, we'll see as time is rapidly ticking away here from Las Vegas as Whitley continues the lead. Burt continues to sit second. Joseph McWhorter holding down third. McCarty in fourth. I'm so impressed by Chuck Sweeting because we didn't hear his name at all. He started this race all the way back in 31st. Was a complete non-factor until he pulled a pit strategy, stayed out, put himself in the lead, and then held on to the top 5, and he's really hasn't let go of it since, as we are going to get wholesale pit stops. Everybody wants new tires with 10 to go, with the exception of Mason Mayer, who's going to stay out in the 10 car. It's going to be mass pit stops.
Is it just me, or is Wesley Burke shoving the 77 down pit road as now the 18 slides in as well? I mean, Wesley Burke was just all but up underneath the chassis of the 77.
And it looks like Mason Mayer is going to be the only car who ultimately ends up staying out in the 10. So that is going to shake everything up. We'll see if he's able to hold on to it here, considering he last pit fuel only 38 laps ago. It's a bold strategy, but we'll see if it ends up working out for him here in that 10 car. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you do get a point for leading a lap here, so that could be a little bit of a bonus factor in keeping that 10 car out on the racetrack. Chuck Sweeting is going to come out second. Sorry, Chuck Sweeting, 2-tire call. He's out P2. First car who came down pit road. Meanwhile, it's going to be Wesley Burke beating Mark Whitley out in the 04. Whitley back to 4th. Those cars took 4. So we are going to see how this works, but it is going to be a run for Mason Mayer, to say the least, if he wants to keep himself up in this, not even just the lead, if he really wants to keep himself up in the top 5 at all. It is going to be a monster of a battle if he wants to do it, as Chuck Sweeting, Wesley Burke, Mark Whitley, your top 4. EOL is going to be given out to Barrett Morton for cause of caution, so he will have to go all the way to the back, and that will take away any chance he might have had of winning this one. It's been a bit of a race of attrition. Only 25 cars still on the lead lap. About 10 have ended up out of this race here at Vegas. And to be here on lap 91, it's taken a lot from these drivers, but it is going to be a all-out brawl for the last 9 laps of this one. Mason Mayer, your leader, staying out, hasn't taken tires in 40 laps. What can he do behind the wheel of that 10 car? Can he do anything to hold these cars off? Chuck Sweeting, he's been aggressive on pit strategy all night long. It's worked out for him so far. He took 2 tires. he'll sit on the outside of the front row. It's Wesley Burke, who's jumped up to third in the 04. Led a couple laps tonight, but he would still be an underdog after finishing second last week at Daytona. And it's Mark Whitley, the leader of the most laps tonight. Dominant car, going from P4 on 4 tires. What can he do? It's Mayer, it's Sweeting into the extreme scoring restart zone. We're green at Vegas, and it's a bad jump for both of those cars up front. Everyone's checked up. Here comes Whitley, 3 wide through the middle. Mark Whitley wants the 2-for-1. He'll get it, and we're not even into turn 1.
They are battling it out like a... Whoa! That was almost 4 wide. Good Lord, call Lawrence Welk, because they're playing the accordion. Everybody bunched up and now stretching themselves back out. The 04 of Ken Huber now down toward the bottom. We go right here at Mark Whitley, our race leader. He's able to start gapping by about 1/4 of a second over Chuck Sweeting. Sweeting going to be gobbled up.
Caution.
And there's the caution.
It's a big one on the front stretch. Gary Wright and a couple other cars heavily damaged. Darrell Whitford, big time caught up. This is going to start with Gary Wright in the 44. Looks like he was just pushing a little too much on cold tires. Got the car loose, sent it around, and just sent it around.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go here to the V-Speed Instant Replay. The 44 of Gary Wright gets a run underneath the 20. Everything looks fine. Everything's okay. The Texas Instruments machine doing what he's got to do. And, wow, out of nowhere comes the 12 and just sideswipes him. You're going to find them down here. You're going to find them down here along the grass exchanging insurance information for this one.
Mickey Isaac took quite a shot there. Got hit in front, got hit from behind, and ended up getting quite a bit of air there after colliding with the nose of Jamie Libke in the 16. There you go. So we're back under caution with 6 to go, and Mark Whitley, I mean, what a drive that was on the restart. Saw that neither car on the front row really got going and just dove it straight through the middle. It was a risky move, but it's a move that's paid off. And Mark Whitley is your leader as we are going to go back green with less than 5 to go. Mason Mayer has already fallen back to 8th.
Yeah, Mason Mayer thought that he had the secret sauce, and obviously it's missing a couple of ingredients. But, you know, listen, tip of the cap just for giving it a try. I mean, you know, you don't know unless you do give it an attempt. And Mayer tonight just kind of slipping back out of here. When we go back green flag racing, it's going to be Whitley, McCarty, Sweeting, McWhorter, Seagraves, Burke, Drain, Mayer, Deering, and Dooling your top 10.
But Devontae Drain, we've mentioned his name once tonight, and it was because he got a he got a restart penalty, had to take a drive-through for pit road. This was about lap 50. 45 laps later, he's driven that car all the way back through the field, recovered from his drive-through penalty that sent him about a lap down, and now has that car running in 7th. He's on the same 4-tire strategy as everyone in front of him, and he could make some ground up here in that 33. What a job to get himself in good position for the end of this one.
Yeah, Devontae Drain here in the 33. He hasn't led a lap yet, but he started in 16th position. That's a lot of work, especially with this caliber of competition that he's got around him. He's going to tuck himself right underneath the 04 of Wesley Berg. And, you know, at least from everything that we've seen here tonight, this is going to be a great run to the end with what should be about 4 laps to go.
It is going to be an exciting one here tonight, I'll tell you that. I mean, we've got some drivers up here who have been racing all night long. Cars like Mark Whitley, cars like Levi McCarty, who know each other, who know how to race around each other, and who have been giving each other some action for 96 consecutive laps. But it's all going to come down to the last 4. Don't count Joseph McWhorter out of this. He sits back there in the 72 car. He's led a bunch of laps tonight. He could still have something left for these leaders. You've got Frederick Seagraves back there, Devontae Drain, 2 names we haven't heard a lot about, but 2 names who have put themselves in good position. EOL will go to Gary Wright for cause of caution.
You know, something that I feel like we never mention enough is the work that race control winds up having to do. You know, at least from everything that we've ever seen here, race control is on their job. I think that it's one of the thankless jobs in all of sim racing, but here we are, and they're still making the right call, taking their time and making sure they get it right. I feel like the NFL should probably take a couple of notes.
Mark Whitley is your leader. He's led about 50 laps tonight. We just said it. He's led the most laps out of anybody. He knows how to grab a win in Goat Locker. This is his chance here on the 1.5 mile at Las Vegas. Levi McCarty, your pole sitter, has been giving him everything he can all race long, but it hasn't been enough. With 4 to go, will he finally find that extra gear? Chuck Sweeting up here on 2 tires, doing his best to hold on against these cars in front of him, and Joseph McWhorter, always a threat on the outside of row 2. Whitley hits the restart zone, jumps early, and we're green with 4 to go at Vegas.
All of a sudden, it looks like Mark Whitley decided, listen, I've let you kids play long enough. Now it's time for, my show. And Joseph McWhorter now lurking back here in the 73, just behind McCarty. And I mean, all things considered at this stage in the race, McWhorter, this is go time for him. 4 laps to go. It's going to be his time to shine as he starts to draft himself right up behind
Whoa,
McCarty.
Here comes McCarty.
Whoa! McCarty almost spinning out the race leader as they are battling it out, white-knuckled with 3 to go.
Heart rate up for Levi McCarty right now. Gave a shot to the back of the 77 of Mark Whitley, but nothing came of it. He's right on the outside now, door to door, door banging down the back straightaway. With 3 to go, still dooring each other. Whitley forced down to the white line as McCarty runs him up the road. He is going to hold that car down. Whitley gets into the side of him, but McCarty is clear. 2 to go in Las Vegas.
With 2 laps to go, McCarty...
Caution flies.
Oh, they were 3/4 of a lap away from getting this one done with. And it's pandemonium back around the start-finish line. Can't wait till we see the V-Speed instant replay on this because I feel like there's a long story to tell. Thank you, Eddie, as you send that one up to the screen.
Well, it's going to start. It's going to start with Kyle Deering. He's running up in 9th. He's going to get loose here on the bottom of the racetrack. He'll go up the road. He'll hit Mason Mayer, checks that car into the wall, and it all spirals from there.
Oh, especially when you're in that 2 laps to go situation, all you're trying to do is get to the end of this one, and, bad things happen, and you wind up going green, white checker. And folks at home, if you're new to NASCAR or iRacing, what we mean by green, white checker is once that green flag flies, we're going to race around with 2 laps to go. If the caution should fly between the waving of the green flag and the white flag, we will rack them, stack them, and do it all over again. However, if and when that white flag comes out, the next flag ends the race, whether it's yellow or checkered, right here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. And if you're here in the Northeast or all the way down through the Midwest and into Oklahoma, thanks for spending your evening keeping warm with us. I want to encourage everybody to head on over to Goat Talk Live, and it's more than just a show. It's a platform dedicated to supporting our nation's heroes. Through engaging conversations, Goat Talk spotlights the impactful work GLR does to build community and camaraderie through their iRacing leagues. Each week, you can hang out with the GLR crew for incredible stories, sim racing action, and the celebration of the spirit of service and community. Don't miss your chance to connect with the people driving change and supporting those who have served. I got to say, during storms and inclement weather, sometimes you can really rip through your podcast I should have listened to list.
Yeah, I've been snowed in for about 2 days now, and let me tell you, I've spent at least 1 day of those 2 days on Football Manager.
Yeah, I was full on podcast, it was like podcast vomit in my ears today, running the snow blower. We got 13 inches here just outside of Philadelphia. Fantastic.
There you go. I was talking to family further west earlier. They got 18, so it has been snowy for everybody. I would imagine a lot of these drivers have been affected. Some of them couldn't show up tonight because they were snowed in. But the drivers who have, have put on a show. And with the lights on the pace car out, we're going to get our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish here. Levi McCarty, you saw it live just a moment ago, got that move done on Mark Whitley on the outside line. They were banging each other off the corner, door-to-door contact. And I would not be surprised if we get a little more of that here with 2 to go. Joseph McWhorter behind him is always a threat. I mean, we've seen it all night long. He's led about 20 or 25 laps tonight. Knows how to win. Knows how to get it done at the 1.5 miles. He had a 3rd place finish in your season opener at Daytona. He would like to improve that. On 2 tires is Chuck Sweeting. Once again, still trying to hold on in that 57 car and deliver himself a top 5 driven primarily by fuel strategy tonight. Wesley Burke in the 04. He's been up front. He's got a couple laps led, but he sits in 5th looking for a window to make something happen. Rest of your top 10. Frederick Seagraves in the 59. Devontae Drain in the 33. Wyatt Dooling in the 51. Christopher Heiner in the 32. And Garrett Kinder in the 4. Watch for all of these cars to have some action, but the focus is going to be on the battle for the lead with McCarty, Whitley, and McWhorter. Pace car is in. McCarty's the control car this time. He jumps, and he gets a good jump as we're back to green with 2 to go at Las Vegas.
A big roll of the dice for a lot of these drivers as they cross the start-finish line. They wanted to see how far ahead they could get themselves and try to get that real estate secured now, as McCarty has to make the 18 car 4 wide to hold off Joseph McWhorter and Mark Whitley. Meanwhile, the 04 and the 57 battling it out a little bit deeper here for 5th and 4th position as we work out of turn 4 and crossing the start-finish line. The white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers, presented by Glove Station.
Joseph McWhorter's got the inside line down here. It's all on the 73 car. What can he do to chase down Levi McCarty? Both cars pit 13 laps ago. It's an even battle between these two. McWhorter needs to go wherever McCarty is, and he'll follow him down to the inside. One last lunge for the 73 car and Joseph McWhorter, but coming off the corner, it's not enough. Levi McCarty grabs his first win of the season at Las Vegas.
I'll tell you what, Joseph McWhorter ran a heck of a race coming as far up as he did, but your race winner, Levi McCarty, led 6 laps, and of course the most important one, the final one. He has a fast lap at 30.274 on the night and manages to get everybody else behind him. And you know what, Levi McCarty, you are the man.
He gets it done. 6 laps led tonight, but he led the one that matters, and that, in this case, is lap 103 after the overtime finish. He'll bring it back to the start-finish line, and we'll let you listen to him burn it down.
Levi McCarty celebrating at the start-finish line. He's going to be followed on the podium tonight by the 2 names that we expected to see a little higher on the standings, quite honestly. Joseph McWhorter and Mark Whitley. I told you the smart money would have gone with McWhorter, and there I'd be with egg all over my face.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have results and interviews with your top 3. Stay tuned.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your Glove Station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. Invets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. Invets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about Invets, visit us at invets.org today.
We are back
Yep.
here in the Goat Locker Racing Grand National Series after an incredible race at Las Vegas. And we'll take you straight into the finishing results tonight. Levi McCarty got the win in that 18 car narrowly, less than a tenth of a second, grabbing it over the 72 of Joseph McWhorter. The rest of your top five is Mark Whitley in the 77, Wesley Burke in the 04, and a great run for Chuck Sweeting in the 57. Devontae Drain, Frederick Seagraves Jr., Christopher Heiner, Barrett Morton recovering from a late EOL, and Dakota Cole is the rest of your top 10.
Moving on through the rest of the field, we take a look here at none other than the 51 car in 11th position. There it goes. See, now it's telling me that it was Morton, but it's not. It's Dakota Cole, Dave Calvert, Darrell Whitford, Brock Price. Then, of course, Purcell and Whitford again, Dave Calvert, Kyle Deering. Davis finishes in 18th position. Mayor finishes in 19th, and Melgosa rounding out your top 12.
And back from there in 21st position tonight, it's Gary Wright in the 44 in front of Garrett Kinder in the 22. Kevin Price, Cody Turner, Jamie Libke, the rest of your top 25. And then you got some DNFs back from there in Brandon Wallace, Michael Jones, Mickey Isaac, Daniel Cunningham, and Ken Huber.
Samuel Yosef finishes back in 31st position. Tyler Gebbin in 32nd. Judson Curtis and Colton Sisk finished 33rd and 34th, respectively. Mark Cofield finishes in 35th. Daniel Parks and Darren Price finish in 36th and 37th. And Bobby Whitley beat everyone to the hot dog stand tonight, with Tate finishing in 39th after not taking the start.
We are going to pull into the booth your race winner here. That is the 18 car of Levi McCarty. Levi, how you doing?
Good, guys. What's up?
Pretty good, but probably not as good as you there as you grabbed that win after that late pass over Whitley. How's it feel?
It feels great. Really had a fast car tonight. Couldn't really make the high side work. Took me a while to figure out where I could jump on people and make a couple passes in a run, and it just came down to having a good restart there, the last two restarts, and making the winning move, and then being able on the last one to hold off McWhorter. He was charging pretty hard there at the end.
Walk me through those last, I would say, 6 or 7 laps there with you and McWhorter and Whitley and all that racing going down.
Yeah, on the restart where I started second and then eventually got the lead, it kind of sounded like the 77 was starting in second gear. I'm not 100% sure on that, but um, restarting in first and then being able to get a good jump and then kind of set up where I wanted to, and then just run the middle lane and try to make the pass. It was hard racing between everybody that was up there. I mean, Wesley Burke and Barrett Morton were up there too, racing hard all night. I'm freaking whooped after that one.
Yeah, how's it feel to grab the win here early in the season, and then you can kind of just focus on trying to grab some more over the rest of this one?
Feels good. I feel like we're in a good role in all the series. I mean, this week I've been catching some bad luck. I've been leading laps and racing really competitive. So I feel like I'm locked in right now, and I feel like I can beat anybody that's running up front and having a good time.
All right, who do you have to thank tonight?
Yeah, I just want to shout out Lincoln Tech Save 22. Appreciate uh, Invets for putting on the Xfinity Series. Fun car. The schedule is absolutely killer. A lot of great tracks, so it's going to be a fun season. The Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, ATYL. Appreciate those guys, and thank you guys for a killer broadcast.
All right, congrats on the win tonight, Levi McCarty.
Thank you.
And we're going to now throw it over to Dave, who is standing by with our second place finisher tonight, the 72 of Joseph McWhorter.
Hey, Joseph, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You get a copy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, listen, you led 19 laps tonight, but you come up short here at the very end of this race. Is that, a disappointment, or are you just glad to be able to go from the back of the field to the front of the field?
No, I wouldn't say a disappointment. I think we had a really good race. Was definitely one of the faster cars tonight. Just the way the cautions fell and the way the strategy kind of worked out, it was a lot of damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of decisions. So I was like, on the tires. I'm like, Mark took that one pit stop where he did fuel only, and we took the lead. And then I was kind of hoping it would go green, and we'd be able to just kind of run away and save tire and kind of stay in front of Mark with his 10 lap older tires or whatever it was. But the caution came out, so then it flip flopped to where then I had to stay out on old tires, and and then we ended up all getting on the same set there at the end. So um, sucks that we lost the track position with that crazy restart there with the 10 car staying out. I'm not really sure on why they decided to do that. I mean, even if they didn't have tires, I don't know, it felt like a really unwise decision. But luckily, we got all through there pretty good. Lost the spot on the restart, but ultimately, we ended up coming out on top. And finishing second tonight. So, I mean, gaining 30 spots in 100 laps is pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Believe me, we've thought about that. Watching you come from the back to the front, that it's still an impressive performance here for you in the 73. Before we cut you loose, though, who do you need to thank and tip your helmet to as we close out the night?
Yeah, we got to thank Jam Printing and Promotions, uh, Invets, V Speed, Alexander PCs, Cruising Classics, GTR Simulators, all the guys that sponsor the league. Big shout out to all of those guys. Want to shout out Red Camel Racing, been an amazing partner of mine for several seasons now, going into another one. Really excited to have them on again. So go check them out at redcamelracing.com. Fire suit, shoes, helmets, you name it, they got it. Outlier Speedco, Johnny and the boys have been building some really good setups, so go check them out. Outlierspeedco.com. Uh, you guys for putting on the broadcast each and every week. You guys doing a fantastic job. Love having you guys. Love going back and watching and seeing the excitement in you guys. Admins for the hard work. Drivers for a pretty okay race, and ready to get into next week.
All right, my friend, well, listen, congratulations. And once again, we will see you next week.
Yeah, absolutely, brothers. Hopefully, I'm talking to you guys at the end of it.
That the voice of Joseph McWhorter, your second place finisher, and last but certainly not least, Sky, you have him now, Mark Whitley.
Mark, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
P3 tonight, you led the most laps, but you weren't able to get it across the finish line. How's it feel?
Yeah, I don't know. That last run, it just got really, really loose for some reason. The whole rest of the race, it felt fine. If anything, it was a little snug in parts of it, but I don't know. It's just fresh something with those fresh tires running, I guess, extra hard. It just got really loose on the bottom, and I guess whole race, the bottom was where I made up all the time and was the fastest, and apparently the bottom just all of a sudden got loose and wasn't fast anymore. So kind of sucks to lose it that way, but I guess it happens sometimes.
Yeah, walk me through your last couple restarts there where you got passed by McCarty, and then that final one where you were battling with McWhorter.
Yeah, the first one, I just thought I got a decent jump on the restart. It looks like he got a halfway decent one. We came off of 2, and I knew he'd have to draft a little bit. But then we went into 3 and 4, and I went down there kind of like I had been going. I don't know if I just entered a little lower or what, but got really free in the center, and I kind of slid up off the corner and kind of slid in front of him, and he just kind of gave me the chrome horn, and thankfully I just kind of kept it going straight. And then we went down into one the same way, went in the corner how I had the whole race, and it was all right. But he just was able to drive it in on the outside, and then we went down the back straightaway, and he doored me twice. So, uh, yeah, I guess racing for the win or whatever. And then went down to 3 and 4 again, and it just same thing 3 times in a row. Just rear end just kept stepping out and slid up into him a little bit, and then kept it back going. And then that final restart, I tried to. It's like, well, if he's out there running the high side, maybe I can try it too. And I went up there and about busted my ass twice, and kind of lucky to come home with third because I thought there was a second there. I thought I was wrecking because it was just so sideways. I don't know what it was. If it was just a bad set of tires, or it just was stupid loose on that last run for some reason.
Who do you have to thank tonight, Mark?
Yeah, shout out to all the sponsors here at the league: iRacing, MK Fire Design, Sin Motion, Harpoon Design, which is also on my car. If you need a paint scheme, check them out. Zach Graphics, Invets, all the guys that make this league possible. My personal sponsors, like I already said, Harpoon, they're the best in the business. We see this, we get this ridiculously cool looking race car in Victory Lane soon because it deserves it. My other sponsor, Java, while all the craziness going on in the PC gaming market right now, they got you covered. #1 online gaming marketplace. Need a new system, new upgrade, whatever you need, they got you covered over there at Java. So check them out. And then I guess all the guys that tune into these broadcasts races at home, we always appreciate it, and it's fun to put on a show.
All right, congrats on P3 tonight, Mark Whitley.
Thanks, guys.
And that'll be the end of our coverage tonight from Las Vegas. But coming up next week, we're going to take it to the high banks of Auto Club. Dave, how you feel about that one?
Look, this is one of those situations where iRacing does it right. They're able to make these tracks essentially immortal. So getting out there to Auto Club Speedway, especially after what's been going on over the last few months as they've been going through kind of a face change, I'm excited just to be able to say, hey, we were at Auto Club.
Right, well, for myself and Dave and Eddie up here in the booth with me, and for everyone at Goat Locker Racing, V-Speed, and all of our partners, we'll see you at the same time next Sunday. Have a great night.